Okay, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Okay, guys, I'm back. I know you're probably thinking, where the heck have you been? Well, yeah, had some extenuating circumstances, and I'm not going to get into them further than that, but it involved family, so there you go. All right, now, what we're going to do here is, first of all, it is Sunday, November 24th, and what we're going to be doing first is looking at the Q post. So this video will cover the Q posts from yesterday and today. Then I'm going to come back and do another video on the news. So let's get right into it. And I do have some people to thank, but I will leave that to the next video. Because this one is just Q, and I know there's people that, they'll look at the video just because it's Q, but they're not necessarily regular listeners. So I do want to save that for the news video. All right, so let's start here with Q. This is the first one from yesterday, November 23rd, Saturday, and it's concerning a QAnon meeting at Tampere, Finland. And Q gives us a link, and this is the link. I've gone out and cut it out for us, and it has a group of people in Finland. They are having, I guess, a Q meeting, QAnon meeting, and it says QAnon meeting at Tampere, Finland, 11/23/2019, hashtag QAnon, hashtag where we go one, we go all, hashtag Great Awakening. And Q simply says the Great Awakening, where we go one, we go all, Q. I believe that Q has pointed this out to us and made us or directed our attention here because he wants to show us, not that we're not already aware, but there are people that are new to Q as well. So this shows that this is truly a worldwide movement. It's not just Americans that are following Q. It's not just Americans and Canadians. It's everyone. It's the whole world seems to be following Q. I do believe that Q probably has fans in every country of the world. If not, then probably 90% of them. Okay, so let's go on to the next Q post, and it is this. And this is post 3623. The corrupt system has been ripping off the U.S. taxpayer. Well, don't we know it? Again, this is from Saturday, yesterday, the 23rd of November. And the first thing we have is a link, which we're going to go out to now. And Q has directed us to look at, hang on here, at the 16-minute marker. So I'm going to go a little bit before that to give us a little bit of a lead into it, and we'll see what Q is wanting to direct our attention to. So here we go. Hang on.
President Zelensky, do whatever is right, something to that effect. And they didn't put that in. That was the end of him. Like, to turn off the television.
So we're at the 16-minute mark now.
Now, with all of that, of course you have to look at corruption. Are we going to be sending massive amounts of money to a country and they're corrupt and they steal the money and it goes into everybody's bank account? So you have to look at that. And I will tell you this about Joe Biden. I never said it specifically on him, but I watched Joe Biden with the prosecutor, who a lot of people said was a great prosecutor, and they took him off. And he was prosecuting that company. And the kid who never made 10 cents in his life and all of a sudden is making millions of dollars the day he... I mean, you tell me, this is a guy who got thrown out of the Navy dishonorably. He gets thrown out of the Navy shortly thereafter and made no money. Went through, made no money.
But Mr. President,
then all of a sudden his father becomes VP, and he's making millions and millions of dollars, not only from there, but from China.
So, Mr. President, the accusation is this, that you're using aid, taxpayer dollars, to attack a political opponent in Joe Biden. and you say I wanted to hold up that aid because of corruption, but you also in the phone call.
Reason too. No,
Right.
2 reasons.
Okay.
For corruption, because it's known, I want to make sure the money is going to be spent properly. But there's another reason that is maybe to me the most important.
Which is?
Why isn't Germany, France, the European Union, why aren't all those countries in Europe, why aren't they paying? Why is it always the United States, the sucker? I got elected on that.
But they
Why
do
is it
give
always the
aid.
United States
They do
paying?
give aid. We give more. We always have.
Now, something interesting here, okay, beyond just what President Trump is saying. Watch Brian Kilmeade here. Now, I'm going to go back to the 16-minute mark where Q has specifically told us to listen. And he specifically directed us here to listen to the 16-minute mark, okay? That is the target here. So let's listen. And then I want you to pay particular attention to Brian Kilmeade's hands. He seems to be signaling to me. The hand movements are quite odd, if you ask me. So I want your opinion, and certainly put it in the comments below what you think, if you think he's just being normal, or if you think that there's something weird going on with the hands and signaling. But again, let's listen at the 16-minute mark.
With all of that, of course you have to look at corruption. Are we going to be sending massive amounts of money to a country and they're corrupt and they steal the money and it goes into everybody's bank account?
Now, first of all, that is the what he wants us to pay attention to. That he's saying, well, you know, we're not going to just send money to a company that's corrupt and it's going to be going into everybody's bank account, but where it's supposed to be going. And that doesn't make sense. Why would we send, you know, American taxpayer dollars overseas to a company that's corrupt and we don't know where it's going to go? Is it going to go to weapons? Is it going to go to this? Is it going to go to make the heads of state richer? So that's the point that Q is trying to make. But watch here with Brian Kilmeade's hands again.
Statement that he read. The most important phrase was, I want nothing. Twice I said it. I want nothing. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. Have President Zelensky do whatever is right. Something to that effect. And they didn't put that in. That was the end of him. I said, turn off the television. That's what he said. Right. Now, with all of that, of course you have to look at corruption. Are we going to be sending massive amounts of money to a country and they're corrupt and they steal the money and it goes into everybody's bank account? So you have to look at that. And I will tell you this about Joe Biden. I never said it specifically on him, but I watched Joe Biden with the prosecutor, who a lot of people said was a great prosecutor, and they took him off. And he was prosecuting that company. And the kid who never made 10 cents in his life and all of a sudden is making millions of dollars the day he... I mean, you tell me, this is a guy who got thrown out of the Navy dishonorably. He gets thrown out of the Navy short...
So, I don't know. This is not the part that, you know, Q was drawing our attention to. However, it just seems that his hand movements are a little bit strange. He's got them in this shape, which is actually, I mean, not just, you know, some people say it's the Illuminati. It's also when you're judging what somebody says, you often put your hands in this position. And that's what I thought at first, that he's just doing that because he's listening and he's judging what President Trump is saying. But he also looks down at his hand and then looks at, like, it's just, to me, I find it a little odd. I don't know what he was doing there. He was clearly not agreeing with President Trump. At least that's the way it seemed to me. And this woman in the middle just was deadpan, really didn't have much of an expression of anything. So anyway, let's go back now and continue on. So Q is drawing our attention to that. And the quote was, are we going to be sending massive amounts of money that simply goes into other people's personal bank accounts? Theft. And that's what POTUS said. Who audits where the foreign aid actually goes? Well, we looked at this quite a while ago with Q, and the fact of the matter is nobody does. Nobody does. Nobody follows through to see that that money goes where it's supposed to go. Why? Why would you send huge amounts of money to a foreign country and not require some sort of documentation or what have you as to exactly where the money went? So who audits where foreign aid actually goes? Nobody. Foreign aid goes to country X, let's just say any country, country X, personal bank accounts, plus U.S. person involved. So what Q is saying here is that the foreign aid goes to the country, whatever country it is, whatever the target country is where that money's going, and then it goes into personal bank accounts. Plus, there is usually, or, well, he doesn't say usually, he's saying plus U.S. person or persons involved. So when this is happening, when there is corruption and foreign aid money gets sent to a foreign country or a foreign head of state, it goes into personal bank accounts, and there are U.S. persons or a person or persons involved. Think Iran. Think Paris Accord attempt. We, of course, did not sign the Paris Accord. Think all corrupt system. The whole system is corrupt, is what Q is saying. Do you think George Soros is spending his own money regarding push of radical viewpoint adoption? Of course he's not spending his own money. What do you think? He raises money from a variety of sources, and he gets all these, he has all these nonprofit organizations by which people can donate and get tax receipts for, because a lot of them are 501c3s. So, he's not using his own personal money. No, of course not. And that is exactly what George Soros is doing. He's pushing a radical viewpoint adoption. And, we can say whatever we want about George Soros, but he's been very, very successful. Look what's happened in this country, and talking about the U.S. Do you think George Soros is spending his own money? No. U.S. taxpayer payments, aid, directly, indirectly, benefit George Soros organizations. Yes, because they're nonprofits. And he's got all these different organizations, and it's like the head of a hydra, just all these different, arms from the same organization or the same source, George Soros. And he's got all these hundreds of organizations, most of which are charities, and people donate, or he gets taxpayer money through grants or what have you. So, reread drops regarding foreign aid. Now, we've got another YouTube video here that he is linking to, and which one do you think that is? I knew before I even went out to it what it was, and I will show you. Yes, I will. Why? Because I can.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment.
I'm going to let this play through.
With a new government controlled by you, the American people. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington, and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another four-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation. And this will be our last chance to save it. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged. This is reality. You know it, they know it, I know it, and pretty much the whole world knows it. The Clinton machine is at the center of this power surge. We've seen this firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents, in which Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of U.S. sovereignty in order to enrich these global financial powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. Honestly, she should be locked up. The most powerful weapon deployed by the Clintons is the corporate media, the press. Let's be clear on one thing. The corporate media in our country is no longer involved in journalism. They're a political special interest, no different than any lobbyist or other financial entity with a total political agenda, and the agenda is not for you, it's for themselves. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe. They will lie, and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever's necessary. The Clintons are criminals, remember that. This is well documented, and the establishment that protects them has engaged in a massive cover-up of widespread criminal activity at the State Department and the Clinton Foundation in order to keep the Clintons in power. They knew they would throw every lie they could at me and my family and my loved ones. They knew they would stop at nothing to try to stop me. Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. I take them for our movement so that we can have our country back. I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Our great civilization has come upon a moment of reckoning. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefits of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
Now, I know that a lot of you have seen this. I'm sorry. In fact, I hit the camera. In fact, I think probably all of you have seen this, and I have let it play through one other time, and I decided to let it play through again because it's very inspiring, and I think the more times we hear it, the more times we get it into our spirit, because to me, this is the greatest speech, one of the greatest speeches that's ever been given. And he inspires us. He inspires the country, and it's obvious. He packs out every stadium, every single stadium he's been at, he's packed it out. He gets more people than a rock star, than any rock star. So yeah, wildly popular president, no matter what they say. So let's go back to what Q has to say. So he directed us to that and then said, listen carefully. Returning power to the people, draining the swamp. POTUS is fighting for you. It's been a long time since we've had a non-corrupt POTUS who cares for the people and not himself. Q. Could you imagine any other president not taking a salary and giving that salary back to the people, which is what he's doing? He's giving it to different departments in the government that need that money. And I don't know of anybody really that would do that. Do you think the Clintons would forego an opportunity to make a buck? I don't. In fact, do you know that Bill Clinton is still collecting the salary of a president even today, and will, for life, as corrupt as they are. And Hillary, maintains a salary for life. Is it fair? No, it's not. Haven't they taken enough from this country? Now, let's go to the next one. Again, this is from November 23rd, yesterday, Saturday. Rudy Giuliani about to expose a massive pay-for-play scheme under the Obama administration. Now, we have a link to go to, so let's take a look. And from Rudy Giuliani, I discovered a pattern of corruption that the Washington press covered up for years. I'm going to bring out a massive pay-for-play scheme under the Obama administration that will devastate the Democrat Party. Do you honestly think I'm intimidated? No, the mob couldn't kill him, so I don't think he's intimidated at all. But I think he's probably well protected. So let's go back here and see what Q is telling us. And Q pointed us to that tweet, then said, it's going to be biblical. The Great Awakening. Q. All right. Now let's move down to here. And this is from today, the 24th, Sunday. And again, we have a link here. So let's go out and take a look. And this is the link. And it is from the Honorable, the Honorable Ken Blanco, Director, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, Department of Treasury. Dear Director Blanco, the Senate Finance Committee and Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee are conducting an investigation into potentially improper actions by the Obama administration with respects to Burisma Holdings. Now, this was sent on November 15th, so not that long ago, with respect to Burisma Holdings, Burisma, and Ukraine. As discussed in our November 6, 2019 letter to the State Department, while then Vice President Biden was in office, his son Hunter worked for Burisma and would be paid as much as $50,000 a month. At the time, Burisma and its owners were under investigation by Ukraine and UK authorities. According to a report in 2016, then Vice President Biden threatened to withhold aid to Ukraine until the Ukrainian prosecutor that was investigating Burisma was fired, which he eventually was. In addition, Burisma's consulting firm, Blue Star Strategies, used Hunter Biden's board membership to gain access to Obama administration officials at the State Department and potentially influence matters before government officials on behalf of Burisma. The committees have jurisdiction over the taxpayer-funded operations of the State Department and the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. To assist the committee in the examination of these matters, we are requesting a copy of all suspicious activity reports, SARs, and related documents that have been filed regarding the following individuals or entities. 1. Hunter Biden, Devin Archer, Christopher Hines, Karen Tramontano, Sally Painter, Burisma Holdings, Rosemont Seneca Partners, Rosemont Seneca Bohai LLC, Rosemont Capital, Bohai Harvest RST, and Blue Star Strategies. The Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs is authorized by Rule 25 of the Standing Rules of the Senate to investigate the efficiency, economy, and effectiveness of all agencies and departments of the government. Additionally, S. Res. 62, 115th Congress authorizes the committee to examine the efficiency and economy of all branches and functions of government, with particular reference to 1. The effectiveness of present national security methods, staffing, and processes. Please provide these documents no later than December 5th, 2019. Thank you for your prompt attention. Should you have any questions, please contact Joshua Flynn Brown of Chairman Grassley's staff at 202-224-4515 and Brian Downey or Scott Whitman of Chairman Johnson's staff at 202-224-4751. Sincerely, Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson. Committee, and of course, Chuck Grassley is chairman of the Committee on Finance. Ron Johnson is chairman of the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. So they are demanding this be looked at, and they are wanting all activities, all suspicious activity reports on the following people and entities. Yeah, things are heating up. Now let's go back here, and Q says the following. Hunters become the hunted, and also hunter becomes the hunted. Senate was the target, Q. Now, what is Q saying here? Well, we know that POTUS has said many times that Senate was the target. They wanted to have a majority in the Senate, which they do. Now, I believe that this would go through the Senate, so perhaps, he's saying, well, the Senate was the target because they wouldn't be able to do this and to pursue if the Senate had been a major, had a Democrat majority. It wouldn't be able to be. They'd be in big trouble, actually. They would be in big trouble because if the Congress voted to impeach and it went to the Senate and they had a majority Democrat in the majority government, the Democrats had a majority in the Senate, then you know and I know exactly what would happen. So we are very, very fortunate, blessed to have the Democrats or the Republicans have the majority in the Senate, and that was the target. So there's lots of things happening, and I'm thinking, although this week, of course, is Thanksgiving week, and I'm not sure how much will be happening this week, but I'm expecting things are just going to continue to heat up. We got a lot of news forthcoming, and actually that is what we're going to look at next. That is the last post for Q from today. So, and let me go out and make sure that that is the last post because I don't want to be telling tales out of school. I don't know where that saying comes from, to tell you the truth. Did it reload or not? Well, it appears like that is the last post. So that will be it for this video, and I will be back to bring you the news. Yes, I will. So, stay safe, stay blessed, stay well, and keep seeking truth because deception bites.